Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome to the Totally Honest Kitchen. Today we are making a roasted lemon chicken. And to start, we're going to spatchcock the chicken and then salt it. So what we're doing here is we're cutting out the spine of the chicken so that it will lay flat, and that will allow it to cook more evenly. Imagine that it's like you want to hang dry a pair of jeans, right? You don't want to ball them up, you want to hang them up and spread it out, right? The reason you don't want to ball it up, obviously, is that it's not going to dry as fast if you ball it up. So we're getting in here, we are cutting out the spine of the chicken. You can save this for stock or well, mostly for stock, but I'm not going to in this instance because I'm not making stock. So once we've cut the spine out, we can chuck it into our trash can since we're not saving it, and then we're going to take our chef's knife, run it down the center of the breastbone, and then we're going to flip it and just snap, and you could hear it kind of snap there. Then what we're going to do is grab a couple pinches of salt. We're just going to salt our bird all over, get it nice and snowy. Don't go over the places you've already salted. That will result in over salting. And then we're going to leave him sit like this for an hour or two. You could do it overnight in the fridge. Ideally, we want to elevate our bird. So I'm going to throw him on this rack and bring him back around over here where he can sit undisturbed while I prep my side dishes. I'm gonna make some diced potatoes and some corn on the cob because they were both on sale. We'll check in on this chicken in an hour or two. While we're waiting for the chicken to brine, we're going to zest 4 lemons, mostly due to the fact that this is a 5-pound chicken. If you were using a 3 or 4-pound chicken, you would probably go with 3 lemons, but I want to make sure I have enough lemon juice. So I'm using a box grater, and we're using the grate side as opposed to the shred side, and we're just gonna zest our lemon along the side until we see the white. Then we're gonna turn it. Then we're going to turn it, and it's going to be tedious, but this is the way to do it if you don't have a microplane. I do have a microplane, but my microplane is tiny and annoying, so I don't use it for this. It's actually on my list of things to replace. While we're here though, I will mention that the reason we're letting the salt sit on the chicken for so long is multifold. 1, it breaks down the proteins in the chicken. 2, the longer you let the salt sit on the chicken, it allows the chicken to absorb the salt. So you're not just salting the outside of the chicken when you salt the chicken. You're salting the inside of the chicken by letting the salt sit on the chicken and work its way in. This is why you can salt your chicken overnight ahead of time, and it's totally fine because it's going to actually impart more flavor into the chicken. And it also lets moisture out of the chicken, but like the first layer of the chicken, so that the skin can get crispy. And it's going to lock moisture in on the inside of the chicken once that first layer gives up its moisture. So I'm gonna zest the other 3 lemons and finish this lemon, and then we will continue with the recipe. We're on our last lemon. The reason we're zesting lemons, by the way, is because it gives us a lot of lemon flavor without the acid that comes with the lemon. When we're done with this, we are going to juice between half a cup and a third a cup of lemon juice, and that's going to make up for the lack of the acid in all of this lovely zest that we're using. Now that the lemons are zested, we're ready to take our naked lemons out of the tub and start juicing them. I've got my hand juicer here, and again we're going for between a half a cup and a third a cup. Very anemic looking lemons once we have removed the flesh. So probably the juice of 2 lemons, maybe 3, but not all of them. We'll save the remaining juice, I don't know, cocktails. Okay, I was right. It was the juice of about 3 lemons, and most of the seeds got caught in the catch. If they didn't get caught in the catch, feel free to skim them out using a spoon, and then we will be ready to start prepping the chicken to put in the oven. The next step is going to be to rub 3 tablespoons of the lemon zest under the skin of the chicken. So we're going to start by getting in here, and you can look at it. You see there's this little membrane right here separating the skin of the chicken from the meat of the chicken. So you're just going to use your fingers to break that apart, and then you're going to have your fingers underneath the skin of the bird, see? And then you can really get in there, loosen it up. That's what I like to do before I try to do this. And then we're going to take the zest and start to layer it under the skin of the bird. So we're going to start by taking some of our zest, and we're just going to bung it up there with no regard for anything. And ideally, you'll get enough up there that the flavor is spread around. The whole point of this is to make sure that that lemon flavor is on the inside of the bird. So, okay, we're on our last pinch of zest. Don't be afraid to look down in there and see if you've got it covered. I noticed that the thigh was missing a big swath, so that's why I'm going back in. And the whole chicken is more or less done. We're going to move it over to a roasting rack, because what we're going to do is put some liquid in there with it, and then we're going to get started roasting. Okay, I've preheated my oven for 475 degrees. I've got this lead goes to my chef alarm, which is a lovely little contraption that will let me know when the chicken breast has hit 175 degrees and the chicken is done. It will probably take 40 to 50 minutes with a bird this size, probably closer to 50, but I got the alarm so that I can just pull it when it's done. Get an instant read thermometer, check it around 40-45 minutes. So before we do that though and stick it in the oven, what we're going to do is make a quick little liquid to add to the pot to give it a little bit of flavor. So we're going to start by adding 2.5 cups of chicken broth to the remaining lemon zest, and then we're going to throw in about 1.5 teaspoons of sugar, and then we're going to need 1 teaspoon of salt. You can use whatever kind of chicken stock you want. This is actually better than bouillon, which according to the people at Bon Appetit is better than boxed chicken stock, as long as you cut it a little bit. I'll leave that article in the description. So we're just going to pour it in. And then once we pour it in, we're going to adjust it a little bit so that it's even. And that's about right. So we're back, and what we did was just fine, but we forgot to add the lemon juice and the water. Now, I don't think I'm gonna need that water because it came up to about where it was supposed to come up to on the chicken, and I don't really want to water it down if that's not necessary. So I mixed it back in the bowl, and I'm pouring it back over the chicken. Remember, if you make a mistake, it's fine. Nothing is ruined. We're just going back and fixing it. And that's what the Totally Honest Cooking Show wants you to know about cooking. If you mess it up, it's no big deal. So we're gonna stick this in the oven, and then in about 40-45 minutes we will have a cooked chicken that we will rest for 20 minutes while we make the braise liquid into a sauce. And while this is going, I'm gonna make some corn on the cob and some fried potatoes. You guys can make whatever you want to make to go with yours. The chicken is done, so we're going to transfer this lovely braising liquid into a pot and reduce it on medium-high heat for about 5 minutes. Now, you do want to monitor the chicken while it's in the oven. Also notice that I snuck back in and added a few twists of pepper over the top. The reason you want to monitor it is because it does cook fast when it's spatchcocked like this, and I did overcook it by 5 or 10 degrees. Notice again, not ruined, perfectly fine. I'm gonna probably eat the thighs and the legs for dinners, and I'm probably gonna make the breasts into a salad with some oranges and stuff. But we're gonna reduce this on medium-high for about 5 minutes. Then we're gonna come back and do a few things to it. Okay, it's been 5 minutes and it has reduced. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a tablespoon of water and a teaspoon of cornstarch and mix them together real quick. Until they're incorporated. Notice that I said whisk, but I'm using a fork. Don't go nuts. We're gonna dump that in. A little bit of salt. Little bit of pepper. We're not gonna go crazy. And then we're gonna whisk this together. This is gonna take about 2 minutes. Then it's gonna thicken up a little bit, not a lot. Then when it does, we're gonna add these 3 tablespoons of butter and some parsley. You will notice that this cutting board is far too small for what I've decided to put on it. That's fine. That looks slightly thickened. We're gonna turn the heat off on that. Now, we're adding about a tablespoon of finely chopped parsley. So the rest of this you can save for later, for other things. So once the heat is off, again with parsley, little stems are fine. If you notice a big clump of stems while you're chopping away, feel free to discard them. There was a less ridiculous way to do that, and that would have been to separate it out, but I'm hungry. So we're gonna throw our tablespoon in along with our butter. We're gonna whisk that in. And as soon as this melts up, we will have a lovely sauce to go with our chicken. And now our sauce is done. This will get put in a bowl and passed around the table, or you can just serve it sauced, whichever you prefer. I'm gonna put my corn into this bowl, and then I will be back with the plating. And we're ready to eat. I whoopsie doodled on the potatoes a little bit, but that's okay. Go ahead and spoon some of this sauce over the chicken. We did skip the skim off the fat step in the recipe for the chicken, so I'll include that in the written description below. As always, the recipe is always in the written description. Feel free to ask any questions, give comments, like, subscribe, click the little bell. Remember, to be great is to be fearless. See you next time.